I started golfing about a year ago. A friend of mine, John, gave me these RocketBladez to get me going. However, they're about an inch too short for me. Instead of buying all new shafts, I'm going to put these extenders in the end of the shaft. These are 2 inches. I'm going to lop them off at 1 inch, 1 inch longer clubs. And then I'm going to put these new grips on. Now you can do this at home. You don't need a vise if you have the right tools. Let's rock and roll. All right, here's all the stuff I'm going to be using. I'm going to mark my clubs to start with so I know my center line. When I put my new grips on, I'll be able to mark it right to the center line that I already have, thus not messing up my swing. I've got my epoxy and my extenders. I'm going to be able to mark them exactly 1 inch each. I've got my pipe cutter here. This cuts copper pipe. It'll also cut through these extenders. I'm going to wear some rubber gloves because this epoxy is nasty. Then when I get on to re-gripping, I'm going to cut them off with this grip hook. I'm also going to be putting this awesome RX putter grip on. Looking forward to having that. I like to get really down into that grip. And then I'm going to be putting these grips on here. They're a little bit more firm on top, a little more tacky down on the right hand. Like that idea. This is the grip tape, dual-sided, and the grip tape spray solution. I also have a heat gun in order to get the old tape off, and a paint tray with a throwaway liner so that I can catch all of the solvent. I'm going to take a little bit of regular masking tape. This is not dual-sided tape. This is regular masking tape. I'm going to mark it right down here because this is not going to get in the way of my new grip because I'm going up 1 higher inch. Mark my center line right there. So when I put my new grips on, I know right where the center line goes. Line that up right with that new mark right there. I'm going to take my grip hook. This is brand new, by the way, so the blade's pretty sharp. Should work really well. Look at that. Can't believe how quickly that cut through there like butter. Boom. Gone. 10 seconds that grip was off. I can probably just tape right over the top of it. When you're handling this, you want to be careful not to cut yourself on the end because these shafts are pretty sharp. It's so thin, I probably don't need to take this off. This is kind of ridiculous. I'm going to go right over the top of this. Well, that's got some goop in it. Get this out of there. This is extremely sharp. You saw how fast it cut through that grip. So that's how it's going to extend in there with the epoxy. You can see that it is exactly even. I'm going to take off all of my grips and then I'm going to mix the epoxy so that I can do all the grips with the same epoxy at the same time. So when I have them all on there, then I'll mark them, then I'll cut them. This is the only one that had a re-gripping done on it. And I hit it with the heat gun for about 10 seconds and it is peeling pretty quickly off. And it's bringing some of the original tape off with it as well. Now I'll be happy with that. Oh, if I can get that tape off with it. Look at that. Clean. I'm taking this goober out of the top so when I put my extenders in there, there's no problem. I'll put a little bit of cardboard over my table here. This is where the rubber gloves are a really good idea. And with the epoxy, if you've never used it, it's got 2 parts to it and it creates a chemical reaction when you mix them together. That's when it dries up really firm. And I'm going to go ahead and put a 1/3. So if I can do these fast enough, I'll be able to use that amount there. I'm going to lock that up and mix it up really well. Epoxy is a great glue. Super stable, very sturdy, very constructive. Just going to wipe some on here. On the ribbed edge here, and it's going to glue it right into the top of my shaft there. I want to stay away from the very tip because it's going to move it up. Now I don't have to worry about the directional. Look at that, it just squeezes right out. Drip on there. And I'm just going to wipe that clean. Once that's dry, it'll be easier to cut it. I just oozed up and out of the top of the shaft. Plenty of glue on that. And yeah, it doesn't matter the alignment of that because it's all circular and it doesn't change. I got to move fast because this glue is going to set up really quick. Sometimes they're going to want to push out just a little bit, so I'm just going to make sure that they're all fully in that amount of time from the last one that I did to that one right there. That's how tacky it got. It is done. Those are still drying. I went ahead and hit them with a bit of sandpaper just to clean them up a little bit. Now I've got my Odyssey putter here. This grip is jacked up. I'm gonna take this one off and I'm gonna replace it with this one. When I putt, I've got my right hand all the way down there. It will help me keep my grip on the putter. It's sitting up on its heel right now, and I'll be able to see this flat end right here. Match that with the heel to mark a line anyway on this dot right here. New grip. Child, this grip tool is amazing. You just got to keep out of the way of it or you're going to really cut yourself. Look at that. Went all the way through that thick rubber. Gone. And my set of grips for my irons did come with a couple extra tapes, and I'll use one of those on my putter. I'm just going to start right on this one right here. Brampton HF100 grip tape solution with the spray nozzle. I'm going to turn that to spray. These are the tapes that came with, so I'm going to peel this off. And I'm going to put this, since it's a longer one, I'm going to put this right in the middle because I can. This layer, and now it should stick all the way down. Do have the hole in the bottom here, so I'm just going to cover that hole up. Spray a bunch of this in there. Yeah, we're getting it. Plug that. Shake it around. That's a lot of solvent. Should go on there pretty well. Drive it on. A little bit spoot out the back. This looks right. So I'm just gonna bang it down on this towel. Make sure it's all the way on. Tweak it a little bit. Look down the pipe here while the heel is resting down and get it to what I think is square. And that's my putter re-gripped in 5 minutes. I'll let this set up. That grip is beautiful. Ah, control! Boom. I'm using a gold metallic Sharpie so I can see it on the black. I've used my square ruler here and I've got it set to 1 inch. These are 2 inches long. So I'm just gonna mark 1 inch on all of these. And that's where I'm gonna set my pipe cutter, trim them off. Is it going to turn if I try to grab hold of it? I don't think so. I think we're ready to cut. You want it to set in between here, not all the way back, in between the rollers. I'm grabbing here so that I try to release some of the torque off of the joint that I just glued. Tighten it up. This is why it's important that that glue's done first. A little squeeze, because you don't want to go twisting it around in there and have that thing move. There we go. That's clean off. Nice clean cut. There we go. Now my club is 1 inch longer. Once you hear it pop through, you're going to keep going around until it fully cuts the rest of that plastic. Otherwise, you're going to get left with a burr that's going to be inconsistent at the top. This pack of extenders was 12 bucks for 10 extensions. And obviously the epoxy was $5. Last one. There we go. Lift this up just a tad bit higher, then I can tuck it in to protect the top grip from accepting any water down into the shaft that might rust up the bottom of the shaft or ruin the club head, or getting any dirt in there, cause any kind of rattling. I learned from the last one, I'm going to take this piece off first. This will stick around to it. And I'm just going to tuck this down in like that. Hole blockage. Spray a bunch of this in here. Get it all right in there. And then let it run down all over here. Just get it started here. It's going to pop out of the back. It gets all the way there, which it's there. Pushing it down on there, real tight. Find my center line where I'm happy with it. Look down the shaft, make sure that it looks pretty, because these arrows should be and line all the way down. Up with this little nasty sticking out of the bottom, and I'll go back and clean that off. A little WD-40 on this bottom inch. We'll get that grime right off of there so it doesn't show on the bottom of your club when that new grip is on, if you've extended it. WD-40 is a great anti-adhesive. Get the gummy off. Go out to the driving range, check out these new grips. See how we did with the extensions. Really feel the difference between the 1 inch. That came under that ball. Look at that, right in the sweet spot. If you need extensions, grab them online, slap them on your own house. You can get those grips replaced by yourself. You don't need a vise if you need a little bit longer on your club, or if you need some fresh grips. Thanks for hanging out. Check it out.